Justin Thomas is the Players Champion. A huge performance down the stretch of incredible power and ball striking. JT once again proved himself to be one of the best in the world. One of the main factors to look into in terms of Justin Thomas's physical performance is his incredible use of the ground, creating those massive ground reaction forces and basically creating incredible speed and leverage through really good footwork. And that is what we're going to look at today. We have 3 progressions through some lateral and rotational jumps that are going to allow you to use the ground like JT. With the golf swing and with these 3 jump protocols, you need to be able to stabilize, engage, and fire through your feet and through the ground. So, movement number 1 is going to be the lateral bound. Okay, so this is a really simple way to get started, and you can increase over time the amount of distance you travel and therefore the amount of pressure and force you create. So what you're trying to do here is literally go from side to side with great footwork, ensuring that when you hit the ground, the whole of your foot is engaged, is working against the ground. You then balance your core over that standing leg, balance, and then return in the opposite direction. Okay, so you're using your own body and that momentum to create those ground reaction forces in a rebounding pattern. Movement number 2 is going to be the single leg lateral rotational jump. Now this builds on the lateral bounce and adds in an even more dynamic, explosive and rotational component to the movement. So we're going to create that torque and that rotation down into the ground. We're really going to use our body weight to pressure and push against the ground, and then as we extend with as much speed, as much force as possible, you are going to take off and land at 90 degrees from your starting position. Okay, so not only are we creating those huge ground forces, the torque, the rotation, also ensure that you land as well and optimally as possible, because the deceleration profiles are also extremely important for joint positioning and the ability to accelerate when starting out. Movement number 3 is the rotational box jump. So here we add in the platform, which means that as well as lateral, we need to add in the vertical. So this is a progression further on. We're going to use the whole body to elevate, to extend the hip, and to basically move our mass as much as possible. And the only way to do so, back to those ground reaction forces. We need to pressure down into the ground to then extend up through the whole body, get tall, get high, and land up on that box. This is a progression, this is a challenging movement, and you can also increase that challenge by going into repetitive reps so that the time spent on the ground, the reaction to the ground, is even shorter, meaning that cycle gets even faster. Now these 3 movements are an incredible way to put more power, more speed, and more rotation into your game. So the key to executing on those jumps and then taking it to your game is the awareness and understanding of how your feet engage and interact with the ground. Okay, so with the jumps you get that increased pressure because we are literally taking off into the air. What we want to do is put that into our game as well. So in our video last week we talked about the transition, so that was focused in on the ground reaction forces to do with the trail side mostly. So today we're going to focus on that lead leg and the extension you can create through that lead side. Okay, so again with Justin Thomas, people talk about how he's essentially off the ground at impact. He's pushing up so much that his body's not even touching the ground. Alright, there's very little contact. That vertical extension adds to the rotational element for huge speed. Okay, so like we talked about last week, we're going to load that trail side like you do with the jumps, but then the key, we also need to be able to extend that lead side through impact. Okay, and again, it's about using those mechanics, using your feet in the right way, and pushing against the ground. Okay, so once you come down into that transition, again, check the video last week if you want to get into it. We squat down. What you want to feel at this point is that the weight transfers from the trail side into the big toe of the lead side and then pulls back more towards the heel. Okay, so the pressure transfers as you rotate that lead hip, goes through the foot, we push that heel into the ground, and that is your extension, okay? We get a really strong hip, that leading position. Let me take one away. So, if you use those jump protocols, you're going to be able to push up that trail side, but also push off that lead side. And it's that lengthening, that straightening of the lead leg where the pressure shifts through the foot into the heel that gives you that real snap speed around the lead hip, guys, all right? So if you work through the jump progressions, if you get into the swing itself, apply those pressures, apply the power and transfer, you're going to make some serious gains, guys, all right? So make sure you train both sides and then apply what you've learned, apply what you've progressed into directly into your swing, okay? Always available golf gains, guys, all right? There's lots of elements that you can work on to improve your game, to create more power, more speed, more longevity, and that's what we're doing the whole time, all right? That's what this channel is about, so if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe, tell your friends, and then go get the golf word out, guys, all right? Golf strong.